That's right. Back at it again. Full custom hot dog here. Just decided to do a video about Kevin Smith, and not really so much about the He-Man stuff, but just Kevin Smith in general. Seeing everything that's gone on, and it's been, the discourse has been interesting. I'll probably talk a little bit about He-Man at the end, but I just kind of wanted to talk about Kevin Smith, and then, we can talk about Kevin Smith in the comments, like we did on a couple videos. It's fun. But Kevin Smith is an interesting person for me, personally. When I was growing up, gosh, I'm probably older than a lot of you. Probably older than a lot of you might realize, too. A friend, while I was in middle school, gave me a videotape. And on that videotape was Clerks. And he just told me, this is the funniest movie, and you gotta watch it. You won't believe this. So, I watched the video. My mom yelled at me, because there was a ton of swearing. There's a whole scene about, 37 dicks in a row, all that stuff. And my mom was just like, what are you watching? Completely offended. I, however, was enamored. I watched this movie so many times. Clerks was amazing and mind-blowing to me for so many reasons. And it's kind of easy to look at it now and maybe laugh or shirk off what it accomplished. But for kids like me, and I'm saying kid because, again, I was in middle school, young men like me, it was a trip to hear things that I liked being talked about in a way that felt organic. And what I mean by that is nerd culture. I can't recall, and I could be wrong here, but there weren't a lot of things that took nerd culture seriously. I hate saying that phrase, nerd culture, too, right? It gives me those Big Bang Theory vibes. That's not what I'm trying to accomplish here, but it was the first thing to talk about Star Wars, as if it was me and my friends talking about Star Wars. Also talking about relationships.
Shit, my grandma used to say, what's better, fucking a good plate with nothing on it? No, wait, I fucked up. What's a good plate with nothing on it?
Meaning?
I don't know, she was seeing all that shit.
There's so many things that I sort of learned from that film about life and about, of course, there'd be contractors on the Death Star. And that was so important to me growing up. And then you get Mallrats and Chasing Amy. And I was huge fans of all three of these films. I was Kevin Smith diehard. Everyone who knew me from back then would absolutely tell you I was a huge Kevin Smith fan. Before you could get real, nowadays there's shirts for everything everywhere. But back then, I had an RST video shirt. And people would be like, where would you get that? Where could you possibly get a shirt that has a nerd logo on it? This just wasn't a thing back then. And I had to have it. I used to go to cons a lot too, so that's where I picked them up. I even got Kevin Smith's autograph. It was a huge deal to me. Got to see Walt Flanagan in person. So I'm trying to come at this and let you know, hey, here's someone who used to love Kevin Smith, but I guess fell out of it. And again, this is just kind of waxing about Kevin Smith, a story time with Hot Dog, a little fireside chat, I suppose. So it was crazy when Dogma came out because I didn't like it and I was surprised. It might have been the first time that I thought I should like something. That or episode 1. It might have been this one because I think Dogma came out before episode 1. And I was disappointed. And I recall hearing Kevin Smith talk about how he was going to retire Jay and Silent Bob. He said this a few times, but kept bringing them back. He's going to retire Jay and Silent Bob, and then he brings them back. We got Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back, which a lot of people like, but I think I was already kind of over Kevin Smith. Clerks will always be an absolute classic to me, regardless of anything that happens. But as far as his newer stuff, it doesn't hit well with me. So we fast forward to today, right? We got Kevin Smith, and he's on a rampage because he's just getting railed by everyone about this He-Man stuff. My thoughts on He-Man the show, I watched a couple episodes. I didn't care for it. I don't have a particular nostalgia tied to it. As a kid, I was young enough to remember the toys, but I don't recall the show. I feel like I might have tried to watch He-Man after that, but I don't remember a whole lot, so I didn't really take this new He-Man as blasphemous. Yeah, he's not the central focal point. If you haven't heard, pisses off a lot of people. I get it. But what disappoints me the most is Kevin Smith's reaction. Kevin Smith was a rebel. He was an indie guy. He sold his comic book collection to finance his first film. And then he makes it about, sucking dick and nerd stuff. And that's completely crazy. I can't imagine he told his family or friends, hey, I'm selling all my things so I can make a movie about sucking dick and contractors on the Death Star. But he went ahead and did it. He followed his dream and he accomplished it. And he was always kind of an outsider. He had his nerd culture cred. He had his card, always talking about anything and could talk your ear off about it. It was really impressive. I wonder what changed in Kevin Smith. Because we go from this kind of rebellious shit talker, to who he is today. I don't even mind that he cries at everything. It's notorious that he's cried at like every movie possible. But more so his reaction to some of this backlash. And I saw a post recently from someone talking about how Kevin Smith had recorded evenings and rants against Tim Burton. That Tim Burton didn't understand Batman. And then he released that on DVD. And so you hear somebody do that. And meanwhile, he's telling fans to grow up. And if you don't like it, don't talk about it. But he had literally, in the Clerks cartoon, put George Lucas on trial for episode 1, demanding his money back.
State your name and latest film.
George Lucas, Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace.
And do you think Phantom Menace is as good a movie as Empire?
Well, certainly. I think it's the best movie I've made yet.
Permission to treat this witness as hostile.
And it's really weird to see what's changed about Kevin Smith. And it's a bummer. Is he trying to move up in the Hollywood ranks? I would think there's better ways to do it. I definitely haven't liked any of his films so much in several years. I did kind of like Tusk, though. The ending is garbage, and it ruins the whole movie to me. But I enjoyed the concept and the actors, I thought, and performances were great. But man, that ending's just terrible for a lot of reasons. I'm not going to get into that here. But it makes me miss the old Kevin Smith. I get into this phase sometimes with things like Kevin Smith, Star Wars even. Things that I loved in my youth that I just don't care about anymore. And there's something to that. There's something to losing those things that you once loved a lot. And like I said, I look forward to every Kevin Smith movie. Nothing will ever take Clerks' place as a movie that I absolutely adore, It's probably a top 5 still. I've seen it several times. And I miss that guy. So I don't know if this is a move to be a major Hollywood player. It's sad to see him throw backlash at people that he was one of us, He was just like every other nerd, trolling the comic shop, getting comics, talking shit about stuff he didn't like. Some of his movies obviously reflected that. And so it's a tragedy. We lost one. But again, this is more of a rant and ramble video. I was just thinking about Kevin Smith and thought I'd put it out there and kind of see what you guys think too. I couldn't be the only person here that absolutely loved this guy's work. Some of his comic runs I understand were good. I didn't read any of them except for The Widening Gyre, which some people get mad because Batman pees his pants. I don't care. That's fine. But I like the ending on Widening Gyre a lot. It's completely insane. Of course, he never finished it. I heard his Daredevil runs were good too. So let me know what you think in the comments. Are you a big Kevin Smith fan? Does all of this disappoint you? Does it surprise you? Is this just what happens when a nerd goes Hollywood? They turn their back on everything? But anyways, that's it for me. Let me know your takes, of course, in the comments. I'm Full Custom Hot Dog. You can follow me on Twitter. It's Full Custom Hot Dog without that last O, because that's just too long for Twitter. So thank you all for watching, and until next time. If you like what you see,
I love what I see.
Make sure to hit that subscribe button and the bell for notifications so you can watch whatever comes next. And if you like the music you hear, you can follow me on SoundCloud and Spotify. Check the description for links.